poverty mindset is one that searches for currency, while a wealthy mindset uses the ingredients of wealth to pursue a goal. Let's unpack that. This is Journey to Wealth with your host, Temi, and I'm here with Faith Praiz, the author of More Than 100 Truths You Need to Know About Wealth. If you don't have the book already, information is in the description below, and you can also visit our website for more information. All right, let's get into that quote that I stated there. Because someone can hear this. We're talking about the ingredients of wealth. We talked about 4 so far, which if you haven't seen that, please check that out. Information below. Someone may think that, yes, faith in God is an ingredient of wealth. How can I use my faith in God to get money? How can I use my relationships to get money or currency? How can I use material possessions to get currency? But it's not all about that. What are we missing?
The God that we serve intends us to live by faith, trusting Him.
Yes.
Being led by Him. He has created everything before creating man so that we can come and enjoy all the work of His hand. So I think what human beings should pursue is fulfillment of the purpose, the reason why God put us in this earth. The pursuance of currency, as I've said many times, is an evidence of absence from God. Mm-hmm. So if you're hearing what we're saying and it's like taking you back to currency, yeah, you missed the boat. You missed every point that has ever been said. Mm-hmm. So it's important that we get what it is. He has given us power to make wealth and not currency.
Yes.
Currency is needed, but that's not the goal. Yeah.
So let's break down that goal. We did speak earlier on where goals come from.
Yeah.
But I'm now understanding, based off of what we said off camera, that goals have like different categories. You have goals for your family, for your health. Could you expand on that a bit for our listeners?
Well, every reasonable man should have a goal. Goal fuels the reason why you wake up and live. The people does not have goal. Well, they do all they like. They live a life of regret.
Of course.
They are wasteful and so many other things. You must have a goal. You must have how you want your family to look like. You must have a goal, how you want to end on earth. Though you don't know the day you will leave the earth. How will your old age be? The problem with the younger one is they've never been old before.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of wisdom of the elderly person is being young before.
Mm-hmm.
So wisdom demands that you have a goal. So all manner of goal, even spiritual goal. And set it. When you set it, you will see the need for the wealth that God promised us. And you now understand that wealth is towards a goal.
Yes.
But if you don't have goal, you may not have reason to be wealthy too.
That is true.
And that is why people go for riches and currency.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason is to be arrogant with it, to compare themselves among themselves. And the Bible says all this produce evil and heavy evil. All kinds of evil.
Yes. Now I'm also understanding that planning is very important. That maybe, like you mentioned, I think it was in our last episode, that if you're lazy, you cannot be wealthy. Because in order to think about the goals that I have for my family, the kind of family I want to build, how I want my health to be, my spiritual goal, and so on. This is something that maybe you don't have to sit down, but you would sit down to think about it and write out exactly what you want. Now, how would you describe or what does a good written goal look like?
That's a subject, a very wide subject
Yes.
on its own.
Yeah.
And I think after this, maybe I'll have to come back and explain in detail what goals,
Yeah.
how it should be written, and so on. But it's a very, very wide. But something is certain and very real. Is what is real is if you don't have a goal,
Yeah.
you have no reason to live,
Yes.
because this determines what you should do. You are saying how I want to look like in 10 years, in 20 years. Then you break that down into 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, and every day. So the reason why you live is to achieve a goal, a purpose. So if you don't have, it shows in your careless living, careless spending, careless friendship, and you live a life full of regret.
A life full of regret.
In fact, you look at everything you say is a lie because it's not working for you. You say it's not real, it's not true.
Oh.
I've been working
okay.
hard, but you're working hard for somebody who has goal.
Yes.
You don't have goal. No financial goal, no health goal. That's why you drink whatever you like, you eat whatever you like. You do whatever you like because you don't have goal. So it's important that you have goal. Once you have goal, you will understand the kind of, things you're supposed to do, things you're supposed to learn, friendship you're supposed to keep,
Yes.
where you're supposed to go, who you're supposed to relate with, the kind of relationship that will be strategic. It's very important.
Yeah.
Even the church you will go.
It's tied to your goal.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. So having a goal really sets the boundaries for your life.
Yes.
And again, everything is connecting now. So the goal is determining the kind of material possessions that I would need.
Exactly.
It's determining the relationships I would acquire.
Very good.
It determines the strength of my faith and so on. I think everything is really coming together now when we tie wealth and having a goal. I'd like for us to move into the fifth ingredient of wealth, which is knowledge and skills. Knowledge and skills. Now, the first thing that can come to mind is educational knowledge. And I think we talked about how there's different types of education. And I think you said there was 5, but we stopped at 3. We talked about academic education, professional education, and spiritual education. Maybe if you'd want to just say a bit on each of them and then maybe add more.
Let's talk about academic education.
Okay.
Academic education, it's what gives us, teaches us how to read, how to write, how to speak, And we also have professional education that teaches us how to fulfill in a profession, like being a doctor, being a lawyer, things like that. And then we also have financial education. Financial education teaches you, how to make money, how to keep money, and how to multiply it. A lot of people, know how to make money. In fact, that's what we will do our best to do, to know, and to practice. We are not taught to practice that. You make money, everybody make money. But if you ask where is the money, some would gladly tell you, before I receive my allowance or salary, it's finished. You know how to make money. You are a graduate. You are using your certificate. But to keep the money,
that's a whole nother thing.
It's a whole, that's where financial education comes in, which is not taught in school.
Yes.
All right. Now, to multiply the money that you have kept is another thing. And if you don't know those things, that's what keeps you in poverty.
Yes.
You're making money. But beyond those three, we have spiritual education that teaches you a whole lot of things that exist beyond your eyes, and they are real. And why people are not understanding or conscious of that is because they have not grown their life beyond the barrier and the cap set by poverty.
They have not grown their life beyond the barrier set by poverty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you expand on that?
As somebody said, everybody lives in a secret place. You know or no, you don't know. All right, Bible says that they that abide under the shadow of Almighty, you know, that's a secret place of God. But some people are in secret cult. Now, the reason is because you cannot exceed a barrier except you are aware of the spirit realm.
Yes.
That affect the physical and natural realm.
Yes.
You understand? Because your mind is part of the link to spiritual realm. Your mind, you don't see your mind?
My mind.
You don't see your mind? All right? And part of understanding that spiritual realm is studying about that. Understand subconscious mind from conscious mind.
Okay.
Very important. And everybody is aware of what you deliberately put in your mind. That's in your conscious mind.
Yes. Of course.
But what you put in your conscious mind is way, way limited in comparison to what is on your subconscious mind.
Okay.
Since you were born, things you hear, you see, you are exposed to everything, they just there in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind determines your habit.
Yes.
And then when you have a knowledge, you know, many times say, I want to be wealthy.
Yeah.
I want to, and something inside of you tells you, you can't be wealthy.
Yes. And it holds you back.
And give you reason why you won't be. And it's loaded there. It's you.
Yeah.
It's your subconscious mind. So until you have education, you have knowledge concerning this, which leads us to the next type of education, personal education. You need to know yourself. Do SWOT analysis about yourself, but beyond that, you are spirit. You are body. How many of you are involved in the job that makes you sick? So you go home with fat salary, half of it is on drug. Because you don't know, you don't have
adequate
knowledge.
Yes.
So when we say knowledge and skill, there are lots of types of knowledge. All right, there is knowledge you acquire by information. There's also knowledge that God gives.
Okay. Yes, you did mention that in the book here.
Yeah.
You said we are within this book. We are paying attention to divine knowledge.
Yes, that is not to say that natural knowledge or educational knowledge are not useful. Yeah, they are very useful. They have their place. But remember, the context in which this book was written is in the context of delivering the people of God from poverty.
Yes.
So it's important to know that God gives skills and knowledge. There are natural gifts, talents, and knowledge God gives. Just from example of the life of Bezalel. You know, God gave vision to Moses, and God gave Bezalel the ability, the skill, the knowledge, not only to be able to work on gold, material, or wood or anything, but ability to teach and transfer this knowledge to others.
Yes.
So it's very important. And so as a children of God, if you don't have this now, you can covet it, pray over it, desire it, and go after it.
So that is to say, knowledge is very vast.
Yeah.
Knowledge is, it's almost like wealth in a way. where it's not one thing. Again, there are so many things that one would need to know. Yes, academic education, going to school has its place, but there are other kinds of knowledge that one needs to gain. That is very insightful.
If you are going to be wealthy.
Yes, if you're going to be wealthy.
But if you don't want to be wealthy, you can limit yourself to academic education.
Yes. It really is a limit. Yeah, that's a good point. Now, I want to go back a bit to when you discussed the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. Subconscious mind, let me paint a picture here. Subconscious mind has been groomed and raised in poverty. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
I've now heard this podcast. I've come to your workshop, Journey to Wealth. Information is in the description on that. And I'm now receiving this knowledge into my conscious mind. How does that break the subconscious mind that has been stored there for so long?
Right. If you have been to my workshop, you will have seen some things that I talked about how to think, which is divided into 8.
Yes.
And I call it Thinking Octagon. And I also was privileged to teach some students about that in Breeding Arena College. How to think is called Thinking Octagon. And it's saying that the first thing is talking about the issue. And the issue is always one word. Your thinking starts from summarizing whatever situation you are into one word, which is the issue. And the next thing is what's the implication. And under that implication, there are certain words that define those implications. Like the meaning of the word, the dictionary meaning of the word. Like the effect of that issue, that word. In this case now, maybe wealth.
Yeah.
Maybe marriage. All right. The effect of that, the consequence, the advantage. All these things are explaining the implication of the issue. Then after that, you have the target. The target is talking about the goal of the issue.
Okay.
The goal is talking about the aim, the vision, the purpose. It's just giving you clarity, giving your thoughts a clear, mind about the issue at hand. And the 4th column, you are going to see God's view. What does God say about it? So the cleansing starts to take place right from step 2, which is the implication. You move to target. Where is this thing going? If you're able to visualize, understand where this thing is going, maybe you come against it, or maybe it gives you strategy to work towards that. So then what does God say about it? All right. Is it what the world says? Is it what the enemy said? Is that what I'm pursuing and putting my energy? All right. And then you go to God's perfect, God preference. When you see God's view, it's talking about stories from the Bible pertaining, explaining, and describing such issues. Bible has said everything about everything.
Yes.
But you have to look for it. If you can't find it, ask somebody who knows more than you. There's nothing you're going through or you want to go through in life that the Bible has not said something about. So, but because there are many portions of the Bible that I will have said something about that issue, then you move to which one God prefer. Inside that, you begin to decipher, and know the difference between God's will and God's way. God's way is may be different from His will. All right, you see example in the Bible of how people have lived. When you skip through those words of God, the cleansing is taking place seriously in your subconscious mind. And now conscious of these things now, then you move to strategy. How do I strategize? How do I strategize? What do I need to do? Do you understand? In strategy, part of it is your prayer. Because prayer will deal with some of the things that naturally you may not be able to do Remember, we said spiritual education is important.
Yes.
All right, when I say prayer, I'm not talking about soulish prayers, meaningless prayer. All right, you strategize. After your strategy, you already know what to be acting upon right now. You understand?
Yes.
So, I repeat, the first step is the issue. Number 2 is implication, what it means. Number 3 is where is it going, the target. Number 4, what has God said about it? Number 5, what does God prefer me to do among what He has said? Number 6 is to strategize, to plan, to know who I'm supposed to work with. Which book am I supposed to read? Is there any book? Which seminar am I supposed to go? It's strategy. Do you understand? And then number 7 is action. You are acting upon what you have planned. You're acting upon where you say you will go, what you will do, what to invest upon. You understand? And then you get your result. That's number 8. You get desired, accurate result. And at the end of the day, you are cleaning your subconscious mind. You are cleaning your subconscious mind.
Wow, that is perfect. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Faith Praiz just went over Thinking Octagon, which is one of the ways that you can cleanse your subconscious mind, especially from those mentalities of poverty. Going through the Thinking Octagon, which has 8 steps, as the octagon implies. Just to say it again: issue, implication, target, God's view, God's preferred position, strategy, action, and result. And there is a book on
the book that I would want to
Thinking
sell.
Octagon.
Masses are not ready.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just did a workbook for the students that I'm teaching how to think. Yeah.
Would people have access to that workbook?
Well, if they want it, it's not a perfect one, yes. In fact, anybody who asks for it will be sent to.
If you'd like the Thinking Octagon workbook, comment down below and we'll see what we can do about that. But that would be very helpful, actually.
I'm actually promising to give your fans.
Oh, yay! Thank you. We really appreciate that. We're extremely grateful because this would help thousands and millions of people to cleanse their subconscious mind. That's great. Let's move into the action points on how to get knowledge and skills. I think we can just breeze through a couple of these. If there's any that particularly stand out to you that you'd like to emphasize as you look through them, is there any that you think are important?
I've emphasized that knowledge and skill comes from God. Yes. Knowledge and skill can be learnt. So mentor can mentor you into that. That's why the football has coaches. They have trainers. All right. School can give you amount of knowledge.
Yes.
Seminar can give you an amount of knowledge, which you can translate as well into skill by practicing and doing those things that you are told to do. So that's where knowledge comes from, and skill.
Yes. And just as your action points say, first point of knowledge is having a clear sense of one's identity, which we talked about, that personal education. Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the gifts and talents that are within me? What have people demanded of me? Those are ways that you can know yourself better. And of course, we always end up back here at having a goal. Secondly, you should have a clear idea of where you are going.
Yes.
No matter what it costs you, get it.
Yes.
So, no matter what it costs you, yes. I want to understand that point. No matter what it costs you. Because I'm starting to think, is having a goal expensive? In what terms? Like, what does it mean by how much it costs? Yeah. Of course, it takes your time,
yes.
energy. Is it beyond that? Knowledge.
When you say knowledge, how do you get it? Seminars? Mentoring?
Yes.
Books?
Yeah.
Tips? Whatever.
Yes.
But a poor person says that is expensive.
Yes. Yes. So. Now I understand better when you say that poverty is a choice.
Yes.
Because we have access to everything.
Yes.
The knowledge is everywhere, especially in today's day and age. If you can go online, you can find whatever information.
Yes, you can go online and find all manner of things that can confuse you.
But the goal.
That's right.
The goal.
You see now?
Yes.
How do you know the kind of knowledge you should go for?
Yeah.
What kind of skill? You know how many people that have been skillful in many things that does not lead them anywhere? Because they just see their brother, their friend doing this. I like, and because he said, yes, it's working for me. May not work for you. Remember your SWOT analysis, your personal knowledge of yourself.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes. That's where we get into comparison, where because so-and-so did this business, I want to start this business and try it. Hopefully it works. Oh, something else is trending. Let me follow that. And you just get so confused, and you end up, for lack of a better word, being useless. Because of having no goal, anything anyone does becomes an option to you, which is honestly very devastating and waste so much time, which is not very nice.
Yeah.
So that goal is so important.
Do whatever you need to do.
I'm looking forward to when you will come back here to talk about goals, because this is a necessity.
Yeah.
We move on to the next action point. Start reading a book about where you are going every week. You also mentioned listening to audio recordings every week about where you're going. The goal, again, is in there.
Yes. So if your goal, at this point in time, I want to say, if your goal is to be wealthy, follow Temi on the road to journey to wealth. Yeah.
Follow Journey to Wealth.
Yes.
Follow me.
Yes.
Yes.
You will get some kind of knowledge.
Yes. Yes. It's true. This is an audio recording or video recording, and you are getting knowledge that is necessary for your journey to wealth. You also mentioned here, write down your things to do from the books, tapes, mentoring sessions, etc. Otherwise, you gain a bunch of knowledge for no reason. It's almost like you're going to school again and you don't utilize anything that you've learned, or at least some of what you've learned. Because just personally, I think I mentioned it before on this podcast that I majored in biomedical science. Long story cut short, a lot of lab and scientific stuff, which I'm not doing right now. I'm not mixing chemicals. I am not writing or solving chemical equations and all of that. So the knowledge didn't really use that one. But it's important.
It's still useful.
Yes, it's useful.
Yes,
it is useful in some cases.
You see, poverty is learned, you know.
Yeah.
All your life, most people have been learning, how to be poor. So you have to learn how to be wealthy.
Yes.
So it's not one thing. It's not one seminar. It's not one book. So you don't get discouraged.
Yeah.
Maybe you spend 20 years of your life learning poverty. So you have to accelerate your knowledge to your wealthy place. You have to force knowledge into it.
Yes.
To cleanse your subconscious mind. It's there. Poverty. That's why everywhere in my seminars and places I share this, they keep replacing wealth with money, currency. That poverty makes you look for currency.
Yeah.
You want to marry, determinant is currency. Is she rich? Is he rich? You understand? So everything is because you have learned poverty over the years, and you think the antidote is currency. To get out of it is currency, which is not true.
I mean, that's even because of thinking in one way. We think that poverty is, it is. Poverty is a state of lack and hardship. You don't have enough currency. But poverty also being a mindset mentality,
Yes.
as you've told us on this podcast.
Yes.
That's not something currency can fix.
Yes.
Currency cannot fix the mind.
Your mindset. That's
Yes.
it. You know, as we said, I don't know which episode, the story of that woman that the son was sending dollars.
Yes.
And she was saying it's a picture of a white man. That's lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the basic, the fundamental reason why people are poor. So you are not poor because you lack currency. You are poor because of your mentality,
Wow.
of lack of knowledge. So
Yes.
looking for currency does not cure your poverty.
Yes. Currency cannot
Because you can
fix the
have
mindset.
currency and be poor. There's something called spiritual poverty.
Okay.
There's something called emotional poverty.
Oh. Wait a second. Okay, hold on. We have different kinds of poverty as well. Hold on. Okay, so we have to understand this.
You know, some people are just within themselves, they love themselves, and they are just themselves.
Okay.
And that in itself, not only caused by poverty, makes you enjoy poverty. I don't like to go out. I don't want to socialize. Do you understand? Because everything we've been saying is against that. You need to relate.
Yes.
But this fellow is just on his own. So it's not gaining something. That's social poverty.
Social poverty. I would have never thought that there are different kinds of poverty. You see, this is what education has done. It makes you think, at least for me, I won't speak for everyone, but education at times can make you think in one way.
Exactly.
That it has to be
that's what I
one-
call in this book indoctrination.
Indoctrination. That might be the highlight of every episode because it keeps coming up. You just think in one way. You wouldn't see the aspect of social poverty or spiritual poverty or even in
Physical
wealth.
poverty.
You would think wealth is money. Everything is money. You try to summarize and put everything together into one word so you can just go after one
Out
thing.
of physical poverty.
That
You're
is
working.
there.
You're making money.
Ah.
But you are sick. You don't know.
Okay, still some more action points here. Attend seminars and take every fellowship and opportunity to learn seriously. Practice and make use of all this knowledge until you are skillful and your skill is made known to all. So I think in that last thing I just said there, you can enter a comfort zone in a way where you think, I've gained enough skill, I think it's okay, but that skill is not made known to everybody.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming, as we discussed in our last episode, this is where that advertisement, sales, and marketing comes in. Is that what
Yes.
you mean by making it
Yes.
known to
Yes.
all?
So,
All right.
So there are courses you learn that makes you poor. There are courses you have to learn or study that will make you wealthy. Every wealthy person have idea about sales.
Every wealthy person.
Every wealthy person.
Wow. Okay.
Every wealthy person has idea about public speaking. Every wealthy person understand marketing. But most of them read science.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. Yes.
If you see all so-called, even rich people of this world, they are the ones that will come out and first talk about their product.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Did they tell you I read marketing?
No.
Okay. Oh, this is sale? No.
No. So, one thing to take away from that is, again, this indoctrination. Don't limit yourself to what you majored in school. Because maybe some people are thinking, okay, if I major in marketing, then I'll have that advantage. But then what about public speaking?
The
What about
kind of
sales?
marketing I'm saying, talking about, may not be taught in school too.
So where is it taught?
You see, wealth is a reality
Okay.
created by God, and some may say it's natural.
Okay.
Created by God.
Yeah.
So some of the things we're discussing there are practical. They are natural. They made it get closer to God. It's not what school can teach most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
For instance, if we talk about marketing, which I will inside some of other books, and we discuss that in my workshop, I'll give you a story of my tape.
Okay.
I produced about 500 copies.
500 copies. Okay. Well.
I went on the street with it. I went back to produce 1,000 copies. I went on the street with it. All right. I got some cars converted to sales outlets. I went back to produce 5,000 copies. I went out with it. Now I employ drivers that drives these cars around, branded. Then I went back to produce 50,000. It's just turnover.
Yeah.
I went out to produce 100,000. And since then I've been producing 100,000, 200,000. Started from city of Lagos, and then I moved to Ibadan. Rented an office, a whole house. From there moved to Benin City. From Benin City to Jos. From Jos to Port Harcourt. And that's how I rounded the whole Nigeria. From there moved to West Africa. And that's how I've been able to sell more than 30 million records.
Wow.
Now, if I'm going to talk about sales or marketing, it'll be different from what you learn in school.
Of course.
Yes, but I'm telling you what works, what I experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is another ingredient of wealth. Stay tuned for that episode, because experience can teach you something. And maybe we'll get into a bit of your experience once we enter that episode. But wow, this has been a great one.
Yeah.
Knowledge and skills, how to take the knowledge that you have gained and put it into action. And it's not just education. We're talking about a variety of different kinds of knowledge. Thank you so much for being with me, Faith Praiz, as we unpacked ingredient number 5 of wealth, which is knowledge and skills. Don't forget to grab this book. Information is in the description. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like, share with others about the Journey to Wealth podcast. Information, everything that you need is always going to be in the description below. Comment down any questions that you may have so we may answer them in the next episode. It's been Journey to Wealth with Temi. Thank you so much for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't stop here. Check out these 2 videos for more insights. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode.